All right, the Ravens have their new head coach. That's where we begin. Jesse Minter is their man. The former Chargers DC has a ton of familiarity in Baltimore as he was a defensive assistant with John Harbaugh for the Ravens from 2017 to 2020. This hiring comes 16 days after they fired John Harbaugh, the franchise's winningest coach. I think we do have Dan now. Let's see. Can I go to him? Dan, you hear me? Oh,
Where's
all right.
Daniel?
So there
Where's
he is.
Daniel?
Dan could not make it on time for the show,
Dan.
but he is here now. Mina said, hey, Dan. Dan.
I feel like I've never seen this 4-box.
I like it.
Pretty cool.
I would prefer to
I
have
like
you
this
all
one. I
right
like this
here,
one.
but this looks cool. Dan, is Minter the right hire for Baltimore?
I think it's a great hire for Baltimore. This guy's been around the Harbaugh family for the last decade, knows how to win. I've had the chance to sit with Jesse for Monday Night Football. I think the two things that stand out, because of his track record, his father was a
Hey, Swagoo, pick it up.
head coach.
Well,
His ability to communicate is awesome. You know,
Go, Marcus.
I got it. Dan, just sit your ass out, okay? Get your stuff together. Listen, but to add on to what Dan was saying, I love the recall. I love that he's been in this organization before, and obviously Steve Bisciotti wanted to go a different direction from Harbaugh, but he brings in a guy with a lot of knowledge of how Baltimore likes to go about their business. The other thing is, dude had really good defenses with the Chargers, and the Ravens lack pass rush. They lack defensive responsibility and all of those things on side of football. He had an opportunity to coach Derwin James, which I could imagine that he's excited about getting over there with Kyle Hamilton as well. So it's a lot of things for Jesse Minter to walk into with a lot of familiarity. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's a different move. John Harbaugh was there for an extremely long time. I think a new voice, some new energy, and the response from the players, especially Lamar Jackson, but the players within the organization, everybody seems excited about this hire. So I think it's going to be a good move forward with a little bit of the old nostalgia of him being around this organization before.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this hire as well. You guys remember when John Harbaugh was let go, I expressed my belief that the Ravens should go defense to try to rediscover their identity on that side of the ball, and I like the defensive candidates, including Jesse Minter. I thought he was excellent in LA. This year, they were 7th in both EPA per play and success rate, despite the fact that while they have good players, they don't really have the same level of superstars as a lot of the other defenses you would see in that tier. I just think he got the most out of both veteran players. You mentioned Derwin James, who you really saw have kind of a renaissance with him, and obviously there's some, an analog in Kyle Hamilton, but also players like Dante Jackson at cornerback. I think Khalil Mack was excellent, and then young players. There were so many young players in this secondary in the linebacker group that I think played really well under him. So on one hand, you could say, okay, I really like the defensive mind, the scheme, the pressures, the coverage disguise, all of that. But he also appears to be a good teacher and developer of talent, which I think is a really important quality in a head coach.
Yeah, first of all, is it my turn in NFL Squares? I'm very excited about this. Hi, Dan.
We should do a Brady Bunch moment, you guys.
You know what? I think
There was a story.
Wrong
Sorry.
way.
I think it's really cool that the Baltimore Ravens hired Jesse Minter, Harbaugh Jr. Because that's kind of what it seems like, right? He's had an opportunity to work with both John and Jim. And so he has the understanding of delegation. He has the understanding of communication. But I also love the fact that you probably want him to be like a different coach that was in your system outside of John Harbaugh, and that's Mike McDonald. You bring in and you see what Mike McDonald has been able to do in Seattle, taking what he understood from a defense perspective and having the Seattle defense climb to the heights that it is now as one of the best in all of football. And then also the hiring of Clint Kubiak, but that's what's important for Jesse Minter. Who is going to be the offensive coordinator that guides Lamar Jackson, that works side by side with Lamar Jackson And can Eric DaCosta get him some of those pieces that, in my opinion, we learned was missing from this roster that we thought was so good early on in this season that seemed to have a ton of holes by the time the season ended?
Yeah, we'll continue to keep an eye on all of this news as it keeps going, and we've got more to get to. The coaching carousel continues to roll on. The Steelers interviewing Anthony Weaver, a candidate that we've said on this show. Dan said he was a big fan of even just yesterday. The Steelers interviewing Brian Flores, Mike McCarthy as well. There's a lot to get to here, so we welcome in our Steelers reporter, Brooke Pryor, for more as the Steelers continue their search to replace Mike Tomlin. Brooke, what is the latest out in Pittsburgh? And thank you for being here in studio with me.
I was going to say, that's the theme of the day is in person, but my version of being in person is actually leaving Pittsburgh, so I just did the opposite of what Anthony Weaver did today. But it's funny, I was actually talking with a coach this morning who previously worked with Anthony Weaver on another staff, and the first thing he told me was leadership is off the charts. Another coach I talked with that worked with him said one word to describe this guy is focused. It is kind of crazy, though, to think about. We were just talking about a John Harbaugh descendant off of that lineage going to Baltimore. Imagine that in Pittsburgh. That's kind of crazy to think about. But he's 45. He fits the mold of what the Pittsburgh Steelers like. He is the third in-person candidate to interview Mike McCarthy, Brian Flores, Anthony Weaver. That means the Steelers have also now satisfied the Rooney Rule requirement, so they could hire someone at any time. But I don't think an organization that has only had 4 head coaches since 1969 is going to be rushing this hire. I would expect them maybe to take a little bit of time here. And one thing that was brought up to me in terms of these candidates coming into interview is that they are going to be interviewing Steelers brass as much as Steelers brass is interviewing them. How much resources are these guys going to have? Will the Steelers be willing to build out their analytics department, their assistant coaching staffs? Will they raise the salaries of those staffs? The facilities are also lag way behind the rest of the league. They share a practice facility with Pitt. There is not another team in the NFL that shares a practice facility with a college team. So there are a lot of things here that I think these candidates coming in are not going to be familiar with in their previous organizations, and they're going to need some assurances from ownership. Hey, you want to win right away. You don't want to have a year where you're not contending. Will you give me the resources to help me contend and compete in year one?
Yeah, as you well know, there's great cachet with this job, but I'm glad you brought up some of those points, especially the point about the assistant coach salaries. These head coaches, these candidates, they come in wanting to fill out their staffs, and money's a big piece of that. Thanks to Brooke for the latest there. Speaking of coaching news, how about this? According to ESPN sources, former Colts quarterback and current St. Michael Catholic High School coach Philip Rivers is interviewing today for the Buffalo Bills head coaching job. We'll keep an eye on that one. Philip Rivers has been a big part of the news cycle here lately. All right, it's conference championship weekend. We're going to make some game picks later on, so stay tuned to that. But more on the NFC matchup between the Rams and Seahawks. Let's welcome in Lindsey Thiry and Brady Henderson. Let's start in L.A. Lindsey, what's the feel around the Rams practice as we get closer to this Rams' third matchup with Seattle this season?
Laura, I spoke with Sean McVay today, asked him what he's sensed from his team as they prepare for the NFC Championship. McVay tells me it's business as usual, and he loves that because consistency is important in these moments. Here's what he wants to see from his team: to be able to go cut it loose and have no regrets against what he calls a formidable opponent. So that's the mindset. As for the keys on the field, Matthew Stafford says they need to play fast, physical, and aggressive against this Seahawks defense. Stafford says he's certain the Seahawks will have something different to present them. He says that's always the case, and the key will be how they adapt to it. As for the Rams defense, Jared Verse says they've had success against Sam Darnold, which includes 6 interceptions because of their approach. As for whether we'll see a different one this third meeting, Verse says the way we do things is just how we are. We are not going to change anything up. Now to Brady with the Seahawks.
Thanks, Lindsey. One of the big talking points with the Seahawks and their top-ranked scoring defense this week is getting more pressure on Matthew Stafford. They did not sack him in either of the 2 games against the Rams this season. In fact, those were the only 2 games all year that Seattle's defense did not register a sack. Pro Bowl defensive lineman Leonard Williams said one of the keys is to be better on first and second down than they were in that Week 16 game in order to force the Rams into more pure drop-back situations on third down so that Stafford can't simply get rid of the ball quickly before the pass rush arrives. Now, that game did start to turn in the second half when the Seahawks began putting more pressure on Stafford. As defensive coordinator Adam Dirty said on Thursday, the pressure and the hits, they do matter in terms of affecting quarterbacks, but the Seahawks are hoping that pressure translates to more sacks on Sunday. Laura?